10. The Name of the Rose, 1986. Based on Umberto Eco's celebrated novel, this film is one of the finest medieval thrillers ever made. In a remote Benedictine monastery, monks begin dying under mysterious circumstances. Sean Connery plays William of Baskerville, a Franciscan friar with a sharp mind and keen sense of deduction, accompanied by a young novice played by Christian Slater. What begins as a murder investigation soon becomes an exploration of forbidden knowledge, theological battles, and the deadly consequences of curiosity in a time of superstition. With its dimly lit libraries, labyrinthine passages, and Gothic atmosphere, the film immerses the viewer in an unsettling world where the truth is dangerous and silence can be fatal. 9. Flesh Plus Blood, 1985. Directed by Paul Verhoeven, this film pulls us into the grit and brutality of 16th century Europe. A band of mercenaries led by Rutger Hauer are betrayed by their noble employer and seek revenge through kidnapping, violence, and survival at any cost. What makes the film so suspenseful is its refusal to romanticize the Middle Ages. Disease, famine, and the looming threat of the plague are everywhere. The tension escalates as loyalties shift and every alliance feels fragile. Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, caught in the chaos, embodies the unpredictability of life in an age where power and survival often hinged on cruelty. With its mix of raw violence and moral ambiguity, this is a medieval film that feels as dangerous as it is unpredictable. 8. The Reckoning, 2003. Set in plague-stricken 14th century England, this film follows a troupe of traveling actors who stumble into a village plagued by secrets. As they perform plays for the townsfolk, they begin reenacting the murder of a boy, slowly unraveling a conspiracy that the local lord desperately wants hidden. Paul Bettany and Willem Dafoe anchor the cast, and the film uses the actors' performances as both a literal and symbolic search for truth. The suspense grows as the villagers' silence becomes more ominous, and every revelation threatens deadly retaliation. The backdrop of disease, religious fear, and the desperation of a crumbling society adds a constant air of dread that hangs over every scene. 7. Pathfinder, 2007. This darker reimagining of a Norse legend transports us into a world of blood and snow. A young Norse boy, left behind after a raid in North America, is raised by Native Americans. Years later, when Viking invaders return, he finds himself caught between two worlds. The suspense lies not only in the violent confrontations, but in the psychological battle of loyalty, identity, and survival. The forests and icy landscapes become a character of their own, filled with shadows where enemies may lurk. The film thrives on a sense of inevitability. As the Vikings close in, tension builds like a tightening noose. Pathfinder is both a survival thriller and a story of cultural collision, where every choice could mean life or death. 6. Brotherhood of the Wolf, 2001. Loosely inspired by the true story of the Beast of Gévaudan, this French thriller blends folklore, action, and mystery in a way few films dare to. A series of brutal killings terrify rural France, with whispers of a monstrous creature stalking the countryside. Sent to investigate are a naturalist and his enigmatic companion, but what they uncover is far more human and more sinister than any beast. With its lavish costumes, rain-soaked forests, and gothic visuals, the film creates an atmosphere dripping with suspense. Every scene feels like a hunt, and the line between predator and prey constantly shifts. Its mix of conspiracy, violence, and primal terror make it an unforgettable piece of medieval suspense. 5. Witchfinder General, 1968. Often cited as one of Vincent Price's greatest performances, this film is as unsettling today as it was upon release. Price plays Matthew Hopkins, a self-proclaimed witch hunter during England's Civil War, who uses paranoia and fear to justify torture and executions. Unlike fantasy-driven medieval tales, this film grounds itself in historical cruelty, showing how fear and superstition can be manipulated for power. The suspense lies not in monsters or magic, but in the terrifying reality of human beings willing to condemn the innocent for personal gain. The slow inevitability of Hopkins' cruelty builds dread with every scene, making it one of the most haunting portrayals of medieval hysteria on screen. 4. The Devils, 1971. Ken Russell's bold and controversial masterpiece takes us into 17th century France, where politics, religion, and repression collide. Oliver Reed plays a priest caught in a storm of accusations, lust, and political corruption, while Vanessa Redgrave delivers a haunting performance as a nun consumed by obsession. The film's suspense is psychological, driven by paranoia, hysteria, and the terrifying realization of how institutions twist faith into instruments of control. Still banned or censored in many countries, The Devils doesn't rely on jump scares, but on an overwhelming sense of dread and inevitability. It shows how mass hysteria and power struggles can turn an entire community into a living nightmare. 3. The Navigator, a medieval Odyssey, 1988. This surreal and haunting film transports us to a 14th century English village devastated by the plague. Desperate for salvation, the villagers follow the visions of a young boy who leads them to dig a tunnel through the earth, only to emerge in 20th century New Zealand. The suspense comes from the clash between medieval superstition and the strange modern world they cannot comprehend. Their fear of the plague and belief in divine signs makes every decision fraught with tension. With dreamlike visuals and a haunting atmosphere, the film captures the desperation of people caught between faith, fear, and the unknown. It's one of the most unique medieval thrillers ever made. 2. The Advocate, 1993, also known as The Hour of the Pig. This film offers a fascinatingly dark glimpse into 15th century France, where superstition and corruption reign. Colin Firth stars as a young lawyer who takes on bizarre cases, like defending animals accused of crimes, only to uncover webs of deceit and danger surrounding the villagers. What begins as eccentricity soon becomes deeply unsettling, as every trial hides ulterior motives and the church's grip on justice looms like a blade overhead. The suspense lies in whether truth can survive in a world designed to bury it, and the candle-lit trials and tense confrontations make it as unnerving as it is thought-provoking. 1. Black Death, 2010. Starring Sean Bean in one of his most intense roles, this film is set in plague-ravaged England. A young monk joins a band of mercenaries tasked with investigating a remote village untouched by the Black Death. As they venture deeper, they discover the unsettling practices of the villagers, and what seems like salvation slowly reveals itself to be something far darker. The suspense escalates with each revelation, blending faith, brutality, and fear of the unknown into a tense, claustrophobic atmosphere. The moral dilemmas are as suffocating as the plague itself, and by the end, the film leaves a lingering question about the nature of belief and the price of survival.